I first remember being here when I was 4 years old. I came with my grandmother. My grandmother was a cousin of the Nessets. She was very close to them. They were her closest relatives. So she would come here quite frequently, and I tagged along with her. 4 years old, we walked up to the Overby farm. The Overby family had just left the farm the year before. And I remember as we neared the Overby farm seeing foxglove blooming. This is beautiful. It's the first time I remember sensing that something was beautiful. And so my associations with the farm are bathed in that sense of recognition of beauty. And then as I continued to grow up, Tom, George, and Ingeborg Nesset would take me under their wing when we would frequently visit here. And we'd go out hiking or fishing in the little creek, eating lots of goodies that Ingeborg would bake on her wood cook stove. And so all of my feelings of the Nesset Farm are wrapped up in those wonderful memories of childhood. And that has sustained me over the years in work to restore and to prepare the farm to become a historic park. I think that all of those good memories make anything I do here a labor of love. The Nessets came to settle the land. They came from a valley in Norway that had been settled for many hundreds of years, in a very sustainable manner, and they brought with them the philosophies of treating the land in a way that could continue for generations. And so they came here really with the unspoken intent of doing so, where we love the land that we live on and want it to continue to provide sustenance and life for generations to come, where we find that we're at the end of our journey and that we belong here. Behind me is the Nesset house. It was built originally by Louis Sinnes when he preempted the homestead claim in 1887. He was in his early 20s. He had a fiancée, Isabella, living in Tacoma. She would not marry him until he had a house ready to move into. So two of his brothers helped him build this house. They split big cedar logs and used this broad axe to smooth the logs. You see this?
Good and sharp on one edge, and you just whittle along, and boy, it's cuts nice.
So when the Nessets bought the farm from Louis and Isabella Sinnes, who were their relatives, in 1905, they bought the farm for $1,500. Louis had sold the timber on the farm for what I understand was $9,000 to the Ferguson Logging Company, which then set up a logging camp on the farm. Tom would have been about 7 or 8 years old when they started logging, and he watched the big trees come down, and he always told me that made him sad to see these big trees come thundering down and the hillside laid bare. And then over the next few years the hillside burned several times and was bare and black, and he said that memory was seared on his brain essentially. And in later years, as the trees started to grow back and became commercially valuable, he said he never wanted to see the hillside clear-cut again. He said that troubled him enough the first time that he wanted to see those trees stay up there. And so when the idea of conservation easement was explained to him, that was I think the foremost thing that he thought of. This is a way to ensure that those trees stay there. And so that was I think that was one of the primary impetus to sign the conservation easement. And when Tom signed the easement, I never saw him smile so broadly. He was just beaming. He knew that he had done his duty to take care of the farm for the next generation, and it took such a burden off of him emotionally that the Land Trust was able to provide, to fulfill that role that was necessary for a Norwegian farm family. So now the Land Trust is the family. You know, we talked about, you know, what the Nessets would think if they were here. I feel they are here because you see it in the buildings. You know, I work on restoration of the buildings, and I find little spots in places that you only uncover when you're taking things apart. And I see their handiwork. I see the way they clinched over a nail. I see a little piece of wood that they stuck in someplace, and everything that's here. The reason why the Land Trust is here, the reason why this is becoming a park, it's all them. And the reason why I'm here is the love for the land that they imbued in me.